All right. So in our previous video, we introduced tips and gratuity. And so we're going to see some examples of how we can work those out. So remember that a tip is us giving a service provider an additional amount on top of whatever it is that we owe them. This is just something that we do as a kindness to show our appreciation for their services that they may provide to us. So this example that we're going to work on is a tip. And so the example says the bill for a group of 8 people at a restaurant was $125 before the tip was added. The group wants to add an 18% tip. What will be the total bill, including the tip? So, what we need is we first want to know what the amount of the bill is. Okay. And remember that tips are treated the same way as taxes, it's just added on to whatever our total amount is. Let me fix our focus, make sure we're good. All right, there we go. Okay. So, what we have is the amount, I'm sorry, not the amount of the tip, the amount of the bill is what we need to talk about. The amount of the bill, we're going to talk about the tip, and then we will have the total bill. Okay. So there's a few different ways that we can go through it. I'm just going to make a notation of some of the methods that we've learned in the past. Remember, ratio reasoning. I'm just going to pull this down so you guys can see this. In our previous examples, we've worked out using ratio reasoning with the swing method. We've also done it with the cross multiplication and the fish method, right? So we can set it up the same way, part to whole comparison with our quantity on one side and our percent on the other. We've done the properties of operation. That's where we've converted the tip amount. And then we just multiply both sides. And so now we're going to try to start using a formula. Okay. So there's two ways that we can do the formula. We can either say the amount of the bill times the tip if we're talking about a percent, and then we're going to divide that by 100. Or we can go through and talk about the amount of the bill times the tip, which has been converted into its decimal equivalent, and then find the amount of the tip that we're going to add on. So just to go back, if we wanted to do our ratio reasoning, it would look like this. You'd have your part to whole, you'd have your numbers on one side, and then your percents on the other side. Okay. But we're not going to do it that way today. We're going to go through and try these two new methods. But you could if you wanted to. Just remember, it's going to take you longer, and we're trying to move to a faster way for us to calculate. All right. So under this one, we need to first know what do we have. The bill was 125. So we're going to put 125 here, and the tip is going to be 18%. Okay. So under the first method, I'm going to use the formula. And what it says is that I take the amount of the bill and I multiply it by the percent. So I'm going to multiply it by the percent. Okay. And then I'm going to divide that by 100. Okay. So the amount of the bill is $125 and our percent is 18%. So I'm going to say times 18. And then you're going to just divide that by, 100, not 18. So divide that by 100. All right. So let's see what we get in our calculator. All right. So we have 125 times 18. Okay. And then we're going to divide that by 100. Remember, you can use your base 10 knowledge and just move the decimal. So what that is $22.50. Okay, so see how quick we're already calculated the answer for our tip. So that was $22.50. And to find the total bill, all you have to do is add these two together, right? So we should have 125 plus 22.50. We already have 22.50 in here, so I'm just going to add in the 125. And that means that we are going to pay $147.50. Okay. So this is if we use a percent. Okay. And then you divide it over 100. Now I'm going to show you one more method. This is my preferred method, but it's completely up to you, whatever you want to use. I'm going to convert my my percent into a decimal. And then all I have to do is multiply my amount by the bill times the decimal amount, which has already been converted into its decimal equivalent. So 18% is, remember to convert it into a decimal equivalent. You drop the percent sign, right? And then go to where the decimal is. So in this case, our decimal is behind or to the right of the 8. And you just have to move it 2 places to the left. So 1, 2. So now my decimal's here. Okay. So that looks like 0.18. I'm just going to put a 0 over here. Okay. So all I have to do is multiply 125 times 18% in its decimal equivalent. And if you plug that in, it's going to give you the same thing that we had before, which is 2250. So 125 times 18% gives you 2250. All right. So to find out the total amount of the bill, you'll do the same thing. So this is actually 3. Let me see. This is a separate one. This is the decimal. And then this one is if you choose to use the percent. And let me move that out your way. All right. So we just add this to it. Actually, all of this is the percent and this is the decimal. All right. So now we just add 125 plus the 2250, which is the same thing we had before. And so we come out with $147.50. That is the total amount of the bill.